Okay, here we are with the power distribution. We're going to walk through the power supply inside the cab. This is a project that I've already done in preparation for a couple of accessories inside. So just walk you through what we've got here. Starting off with the power, 12 volt positive. Ram has pre-installed and sitting here ready a 250 amp breaker sitting here waiting on the battery. Now 250 amps is way more than I will need, and I wanted a lower breaking point, so I've used 6 gauge wire, insulated cable on both the positive and the negative. So here we got the negative connection, positive. I've made my own cables, soldered them and heat shrinked them. So they're both going inside the cab through the firewall. Ram's got a port right there that's unused. I drilled a hole that's just big enough to fit the 2 cables, and then I've siliconed it on both the inside and outside to keep it weatherproof, waterproof, just in case, you never know. So here's the power wire, and I've got a little bit of excess run just in case I ever need to move anything. And as quick as I could get to it, it comes to an 80 amp waterproof breaker, or a disconnect switch. So this serves 2 purposes: the 80 amp breaker and a disconnect. So you push in the button, it kills power inside the cab, you reset, you're ready to go. So in the chance that there's power cable between this breaker and inside the cab were to short out for any reason, it'll break this 80 amp. My research shows that the 6 gauge cable is capable of 95 and 100 amps of current. So I'm not going to need any more than 80, even if I've got all my accessories on at the same time. I've got 2 radios, an inverter in the back, and then I've got a few open ports that I can wire in additional accessories in the future. So 80 amps is enough to supply me for what I need, but not too much that it's going to burn up this cable and start a fire. So the idea here, if you're doing a project similar, you want a breaker or a fuse to kill power, and you want it that as close to the battery as you can get it. So I've got about a foot of cable here until it gets to this. It's all protected. It's not going to short out between there and there, but just in case, I've got a 250 amp breaker. That's a bit much, but I feel confident that this breaker is in a good location to kill power in the case of a short between here and the cab. So I'm going to take you in the cab, but here's underneath the hood what we've got. Good connections. I've got dielectric grease on all my connections, here, 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 and here. And this, I'll give you a link to this breaker. Got it on Amazon. Comes with rubber caps just for protection, so nothing rubs up against the hot leads. And then both of those cables go inside the cab through that plastic plate in the firewall of my Ram 2015. So let's take you inside the cab. From the driver's seat, you can't see any exposed wires. You don't see any switches. All of my power accessories on a relay. And even if you look from the driver's seat, looking down from underneath, you can't see any cables. If you've got a similar truck, Ram actually had some wires, cables hanging down under here, and it's a pretty good location to run a lot of wires. There's lots of space back here, and I kind of improved some of their cable management, tied it all up, got it secure. Now it's still somewhat messy. You've got a lot of wires running through there, but I cleaned it up as much as I could. So I've got a little sticky here in case somebody else was looking, drop panel for fuses and relays. So I've got a custom-made power distribution panel and a relay panel here underneath this panel right here. So I've already got the screws underneath pulled, and the rest of it is just these pop joints, and you have to give it a good firm pull, but that pops right off. So normally you'd have 2 screws in the bottom, but I pulled those out first. So here's what I've got coming into the cab. It looks like a cluster of wires, but I've done the best I could to label everything so that if somebody else was to look at it and work on it, it was in the shop, somebody get a pretty good idea of what is what and what's going where. So I've got coming in is my power feed straight to the battery. Here's my positive 6 gauge. Here's my negative 6 gauge cable. These come into this distribution panel, and this is my fuse block. And that's a little tight with all the cables run, but hard to do with one hand. I'll get it. There we go. So here's my fuse block, complete with grounding bar. And I'll put a link to this. Well, everything here I got off of Amazon. I'll put a link below in the description, so check it out if you're interested. This is from Blue Sea Systems. It's excellent. They've got different models, different sizes. You can have fewer ports up to, I don't even know. I got the 6 outlet port, and that was plenty to to handle anything that I'm going to do in here. And it also includes the grounding bars. So if you get one that's just a fuse panel, you're going to need some way to ground all your accessories. You can go, to different spots through the frame, assuming you've got good grounding everywhere. You find a good ground. I like having everything right here in one central location. You can usually run a wire pair, some wires that come kind of connected in the same insulation. So you can bring that all to right here and have it wired in. So everything comes through a relay. So when I kill the ignition switch, all my accessories are dead. You could wire it up in different ways, but this way nothing's draining the battery when I don't need it to be. So your power comes in here, your negative goes out here. So you've got a grounding bar, you've got fuse panel, 6 outlets, and you can interchange these AMC fuses with the appropriate size for the accessories or power. I mounted everything. I had it on a plate, but I decided to just mount it directly to this plastic. This is a cheap panel to replace if you're worried about that, but I've got several screws in here bolting this to it. It's not going anywhere. It's all solid and steady, and I've secured the wires together best I can. Everything is labeled, where it goes, where it's coming from, and what it's for. So I love this system for my application, in that if I'm running accessories inside the cab or even outside the cab, I've got one common place for power and ground, and everything can run to here. It's easily accessible. If I have a fuse blow, I can get to it quick and easy, just pulling this panel down, and there it is. So I've loved the system. It's been working for me for a couple of months now. Hadn't had a single problem with it. But like I said, it's quick, easy, accessible location to get power and ground. I'll include a link to all this and where I got it in Amazon. Everything here is from Amazon, so I'll include a link in the description. Check it out. But this is my power distribution panel. So I've got wires coming in, wires going out, and everything is labeled and feeds out to their respective accessories. So that is my power management. Hope you like it. Give me some feedback, what you think. I kind of designed this little layout myself. It wasn't too hard. It took me 4 hours of an afternoon to get it all installed with the wiring, making my own 6 gauge connections and links. And there it is. Hope you like it. Okay, that completes the power portion of this project. Thanks for watching.